The war in Ukraine has proven that trench warfare hasn't gone away in the 21st century. But Britain's army hasn't had to really think about this for the last 40 years. In recent weeks, Sir Keir Starmer said he was willing to put British troops into Ukraine.
The UK is ready to put boots on the ground and planes in the air to support a deal, working together with our allies.
So to deploy in Ukraine, this generation of British soldiers must relearn the art of trench warfare. It's a lesson the British military has taken to heart. I visited them at a base in eastern Romania where soldiers were training in trenches as part of exercise Steadfast Dart. This was a rehearsal for war with Russia. Almost 3,000 British troops travelled across road, rail and sea, moving 730 vehicles, weapons and personnel at short notice from the UK to enact a rapid reinforcement of NATO's eastern flank. They were part of 10,000 NATO troops involved in the exercise, which is part of the newly formed Allied Reaction Force. The soldiers from the UK and Romania formed platoons, which then drilled out how to clear the enemy from trenches using grenades and firepower. The trench had interconnected positions, at points was 5 foot deep and had a frontage of 270 metres. The practice of trench warfare isn't just happening in Eastern Europe. British troops are also training with Ukrainian soldiers in trenches dug into British soil as part of Operation Interflex, replicating those found on the front line.
Slava Ukraini!
The British Army has spent decades focusing on counterinsurgency techniques rather than major conflicts between states. In Iraq and Afghanistan, troops focused on patrolling. It's arguably a political role, as their aim was to win the hearts and minds of a nation through patrolling and persuading the locals not to support insurgents. When you hear about trenches, you may think of fields in Flanders, but the last time British forces conducted trench warfare was during the Falklands War in 1982. Well, things have changed since then, namely drones, which give a bird's eye view of a trench. So while you can see into the enemy's trench, they can also see into yours. Before, troops could rely on a trench for hiding from ground level line of sight. Now, drones can spot targets from above and drop munitions with precision. This is not trench warfare as Wilfred Owen knew it. Now, there's nowhere to hide.
Trench clear!
I have been in trenches in Ukraine, and I think the ones that they're practicing in Romania were a decent replica, although nothing can quite prepare you for war. In Mykolaiv Oblast, in the south of Ukraine, in the summer of 2022, I saw troops throwing bayonets as they were practicing in the trenches. They were smoking, hanging out, and having a laugh with each other. They have kitchens built into the mud, and all over the walls were drawings that local school children had sent into the troops, a very prevalent reminder of what exactly they were fighting for. The trench was as much part of the war as it had become their home. The military knows that trench warfare is vital for future wars, and now it must hone those forgotten skills. It sounds like a tall order, but from what I've seen on the ground in Romania and various NATO exercises throughout Eastern Europe, as well as what's happening on our own British soil, I think it's clear that troops are up to the challenge.